Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. In a very good day, I bid to those who watch this video, especially to my supervisor, Dr. Siti Nurbaya binti Yahya, and my panel, Associate Professor Dr. Johaini binti Jabar. My name is Nurul Amira Najwa binti Mohd Rodzi, and I'm from 4B Tech Section 1 with metric number B061710438. Today, in this video presentation, I would like to present my final year project with the title of The Determinants of Income Inequality Among Malaysian Citizens. First and foremost, let me go to the research problem. Income inequality has been an issue since long ago, and the causes of it must be determined so that the problem can be solved. The problem has not been solved, and research after research must be done in order to study deeper details about the issue in Malaysia. Next, I would like to talk about the research questions and research objective. My first research question is, what are the determinants of income inequality among people in Malaysia? Second, what is the relationship between determinant factors and income inequality among Malaysian citizens? And third, what are the most critical factors that contribute to income inequality among Malaysian citizens? Next, for the research objectives, the first one is to identify the determinants of income inequality among Malaysian citizen. Second, to analyze the relationship between the determinants of and factors of income inequality among Malaysian citizens. And third, objective is to determine the most critical factors that contribute to income inequality among Malaysian citizens. Moving on, this is my literature review, which consists of 3 of my independent variables, which are educational factor, ethnic disparity and poverty, as well as my DV, which is income inequality. So this is my research framework, which shows that educational factor, ethnic disparity and poverty determines the income inequality among Malaysian citizens. Moving on, this is the research methodology. For research design, this research uses quantitative method, and the sampling technique is based on KC and Morgan table. Furthermore, for the target respondents, the location is for the entire Malaysia, and 384 respondents are chosen, and they must be Malaysian citizens and working adults. Last but not least, the data analysis method. This research uses reliability analysis, descriptive analysis, Pearson's correlation analysis, and linear regressions analysis. Next, moving on to the Pearson correlation analysis. According to the table, the significant correlation ranges from 0.469 to 0.569 for the independence variable poverty. The correlation value is 0.569. This indicates a moderate relationship with income inequality. The educational factor, however, the significant value of 0.548 also shows a positive relationship to income inequality. Lastly, the correlation value between ethnic disparity and income inequality is 0.496. However, it is still considered not as low but moderate significant value, as it falls between 0.4 to 0.6, and thus the significant value shows a positive relationship to income inequality as well. It can be shown that all 3 independent variables are correlated with the dependent variable, which is income inequality. Next, moving on to the linear regression analysis. According to the model summary table, the value of R is 0.662. It indicates that there is a strong relationship between independent variables, which are educational factor, ethnic disparity and poverty, with the dependent variable, which is income inequality. The coefficient of determination, which is R square, in model summary is 0.439. In other words, it indicates that there is 43.9% of independent variable explained by independent variables. In this study, the F value is 99.042 with a significant value of P equals to 0.000. It is lower than 0.05, and hence there is a significant relationship between the independent variables and the dependent variables. Moreover, for hypothesis verification, based on the coefficient table, it shows that the most significant variable towards income inequality is educational factor, with the highest beta value of 0.316. Next, the least significant variable is ethnic disparity, with the lowest beta value of 0.194. Next, all the significant values are less than 0.05 for the 3 of the independent variables, which is 0.000. This indicates that all the alternative hypothesis for the independent variables is accepted and null hypothesis is rejected. Hence, there is significant relationship between educational factor, ethnic disparity, and poverty with income inequality in Malaysia. Moving on, this slide shows the details of hypothesis of this research and the results of it based on the significant value, which is a p-value. For objective number 1, the objective is to identify the determinants of income inequality among Malaysian citizens. The first objective has been achieved through literature review in chapter 2. Research have reviewed past research articles to identify the factors that affect the income inequality among Malaysian citizens. Therefore, the researcher comes out with the independent variables of educational factor, ethnic disparity, and poverty influencing the income inequality among Malaysian citizens. The second objective is to analyze the relationship between determining factors and income inequality among Malaysian citizens. This research objective be achieved through Pearson's correlation coefficient analysis by SPSS software. Furthermore, the findings of this study indicate the significant relationship and positive correlation between all independent variables and income inequality. Independent variables that are educational factor, ethnic disparity, and poverty contribute moderately to income inequality. Moving on, the third research objective is to determine the most critical factors that contribute to income inequality among Malaysian citizens. This objective be achieved through multiple linear regression analysis from SPSS. Based on the results in Chapter 4, educational factor is the most significant factor that contribute to income inequality among Malaysian citizens. Moving on, the limitations of this research are time limitations of the research to be conducted, difficulty of respondents to understand the questionnaire, difficulty of respondents to spend time to answer the questionnaire, and validity and trustworthiness information from the respondents. For recommendations for future research, it is recommended that the sample size should be significantly bigger than this research. This relatively large the sample size, the more precise the data can be obtained by researchers and thus achieve greater specificity and important research results on the determinants of income inequality among Malaysian citizens. Next, use additional variables to check income inequality determinants among Malaysian citizens. It could help to obtain a broader perspective on income inequality in Malaysia. In a nutshell, the research objectives of this research have been achieved as referred to the results of the analysis. Next, the results of this research describe the independent variables which are educational factor, ethnic disparity, and poverty determine income inequality among Malaysian citizens. Last but not least, the most significant factor that determine income inequality in Malaysia is educational factor.